Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the God. Welcome. It's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday?
Hump
Hey,
day.
it is May the 6th, 2026. Hope that you guys are up and early and ready to go. We appreciate you getting up early with us. A fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Let's start the show.
In the morning. You forgot we messed up already. Let's start. First Sky Omaha. In the morning. Money. Once again, we rolling up. First day of well, I can't really say first day of spring. It's very, very springy out here though. Very, very much feels like springtime now that Cinco de Mayo has passed. But yeah,
Is that what it is?
It
Is
kind
that
of
is that
feels
your
like
marker, Cinco de Mayo?
yeah. After tacos, life gets better. I don't know
Okay,
what to
okay. Hey, I'm with that. I'm with that. Did anybody get out and do anything?
say. I ate some tacos, so
Okay. Hey,
yeah.
that's more than I did.
But that's not really special to the day for me. So
Yeah. Just a regular Tuesday for you.
Right. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I saw a post that this was one of the first times that Cinco de Mayo fell on a Taco Tuesday. It won't happen again till like 2080 or something crazy.
Dang, I ain't even think about that. Maybe I should have went and got me some tacos.
Yeah,
Dang.
man. Yeah, always. I mean, there's always today. So there
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
And today is Wednesday, the 6th of May. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. Do us a favor, share the show on your page. For those of you chat chimers and ghost listeners that know that are returning back to have a conversation with us,
Welcome.
yeah, share the show on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, share the link. Anybody who you think would love to jump into this conversation and add to it. And I really appreciate you guys doing that. But yeah, in the meantime, between time, it's happening right now. It's going down. We're trying to wake up, get it moving. How you feeling over there,
Yeah.
buddy?
I'm actually feeling all right. Feeling rested, not too tired. Getting some things done. So yeah, feeling productive, feeling good. Looking forward to today's conversation. Pretty jam packed conversation actually. So
Yeah,
want to make sure we get to it all. But yeah, so responding to all of you. Big shout out to all of you that have been continuing the conversations on Friends of. That's what we like to see. That's
man,
what we
big
like to
time.
see, man. Yeah. Food for thought out there, man. So yeah, let's keep it going. How about you, man? How you doing? You still under the weather? You sounding a little clearer today.
Little clearer. Yes, it's lingering. It's lingering a little bit. The sinus part of it. Energy's here though, so I'm glad of that. But yeah, sinus is always going to happen this time of year, springtime. New stuff getting pollinated. It's going to
Yeah.
compound. So
Yeah.
for somebody like me, that's just life. But yeah, other than that, everything's cool. Could use a couple more winks, but that's also something that is constant as well. But feeling pretty good and feeling good about our conversations that we got today. We definitely have a lot of really important and interesting things to really get into and talk about today for real. Lots of conversations is what I'm excited about. Friends of First Sky Omaha has been going off, and I can really see, I can find the threads of people continuing the conversation when we're not live. So please continue to do that. And thank you to everybody that does. I want to give a shout out to Michelle Moreno, who's giving us a good morning this morning. Appreciate you
Hey.
getting up. Also, RG says, "Morning, y'all. What's happening?" He says, "Y'all join me in the gym for some planks."
Mm.
I like
Might have to miss that one.
I like smoked salmon on my planks when I'm yeah. He's Marlon Harrison says, "Good morning, First Sky family, and happy Wellness Wednesday." Appreciate that.
Hey,
Judy
flexible.
Prinzer says, "A wonderful Wednesday, fam." That's right. Let's make it wonderful. Pop says, "Good Wednesday morning. Mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops."
Hey.
Kimmer Snipes in the chat saying, "Good morning." Kimmer, I swear, every time we getting ready for the show, we mention your name one or two times each time. So that's 3 times a week, 10 months a year that we say your name. Leia Keister is up and saying, "What's up, Wednesday? What's happening?" Yeah, we're gonna
What's
find out
up?
what's up today. Sean McCarthy says, "Morning, First team and chimers. Appreciate you, bro." Pop says, "Yep, in my book, every day is Cinco de Mayo." Heard that. Cinco de Mayo is
Hey.
every day for me too.
No
Just,
argument from me.
just about. We have special guests coming in, as you saw earlier. Naudia McCracken and Noele Smith is going to join us today. They're from the Douglas County Health Department. We're going to talk to them a little bit about some of the things that we've been trying to battle, which is lead remediation and everything that's going on with our environment.
That
So I
part.
look forward to that. Get your questions ready, and they'll join us a little later on in the show. And in the meantime, we also have a few things coming up. Of course, the weekend is coming up short quickly, and we really highly encourage. We've been trying to talk to you guys about registering for this 19th annual Rebuild the Village Conference and Revive Black Business Expo that's going down May the 8th. That's in 2 days. So this is coming up Friday. Highly suggest that you get busy and come and check this out. Register, and like I say, my thing is that at this point we kind of have looked into this enough to see some of the good that Empowerment Network and Revive and all these other organizations, a lot of the organizations in the network are doing. And at this point, if anybody has any doubts, questions, it's really easy just to first of all get involved, check out what's going on, and second of all, speak to people, talk
Man.
to people face to face, find out what's happening. Nothing's perfect. Show us, give us some grace, but also, see what good has been done. There's a lot of good, a lot of talent out here, and a lot of times we get to focusing on the negative so hard we don't really see it. But highly suggest you check this out. There's gonna be plenty of people to talk to this time around too. As you can see, tons of speakers.
Yeah.
Rebuilding the Village Conference. Yep. Working together to create safe, thriving, and prosperous communities. And I really am pleased to see the kind of work that's being done. I see a whole lot of folks on this panel right here that's been on the show. Brother Gary Clark, I see. Brother Raheem, I see. Kimmer Snipes, I see. Willie Barney, I see a whole lot of folks on here that's been Brother Trey. So there's a whole lot of folks that's been on here. Pete Festerson. Lots of speakers, and I highly suggest you go check these out and talk to folks. And if nothing else, I see Precious on there now. If nothing else, you have to understand that these people are gathered together. You can speak to everybody here face to face, have conversations. Highly suggest that you go ahead and get down with this Rebuilding the Village conference. Be a part of it. Check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sister Raquel in there too.
It's Raquel in there. Yeah, man. It's going down. Also, what's going down coming up this Saturday for us, Content Creator Camp is
Hey,
firing up.
hey, hey.
May 9th. I'm not sure about the entries yet. I'll get the number later, but I think that we're always, if you're ever interested in doing the Content Creator Camp, you can send us an email at firstskyOmaha@gmail.com. And if you don't get in this class, you'll get in the next one. We'll definitely have another one coming up as well. So, yeah, definitely hit us up if you're interested. Classes will be held at Heart Ministry Center on the South entrance on this Saturday that's coming up. But you do have to register to get busy with us. So we'll put a link in the chat for you to be able to do that a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, become a trusted source, use your creative skills, become a citizen journalist, and hold those in power accountable. Trying to build an army of citizen journalists, and this is how we start with a 4-part workshop. It's Saturday mornings from 10 to 12 on the 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, and you'll have a finished article, a finished piece by the time you get done going through this Content Creators Camp 2026. So if you're interested or anybody you know might be interested, send them our way, firstskyOmaha@gmail.com. Love to hear from you.
News gang.
News gang. You're going to get busy with that, man. For real, for real. Brother Sherman is back with Sermons with Sherman coming up on May 7th, which is tomorrow. He's going to have a really, really powerful show. All his shows are powerful.
Man.
Yeah, but he'll be speaking to Tabitha Manning, the mother of Peyton Benson, a little girl who got killed. He says, join us for an inspiring, powerful conversation. You can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, and it looks like he's on Instagram as well. He's also going to have special guest, our brother Jahi Shabazz. It's going to be on there. So, yeah, definitely check him out. We don't ever really have to promote this too much. Our people's always checking out sermons on with Sherman because that's News Gang fam for real. So appreciate him getting back into the game. He has some very powerful stuff. I love watching his shows just because he is very much. Was that me? Because he's very much somebody singing. Because he's very much in tune with the people, and he talks to the people and gets down to the story, of the people really in a big way, and deep dives into our neighbors, our community that we are trying to serve in the first place. So shout out to him. Definitely check him out on the platforms that you like. That's tomorrow, May 7th. It starts at 7 p.m.
Hey.
Yeah, so definitely check him out, man. Sermons with Sherman is back. Love that. Love that very much. We have a lot more things coming up here that we'll dive into shortly. lot more haps, and of course, we get more haps as we get closer to Friday. If you have any haps or anything like that, put them in the chat or put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. Let us know about meetings that are coming up. We're going to be talking about some meetings that are coming up, very important meetings that are happening in the area. As you know, that we're a proponent of really trying to be a part of helping the Deuce area, especially the 24th and Lake Street area, come
The
together.
Deuce.
And there's a meeting coming up with the BID today, the Business Improvement District. 24th Street Business Improvement District is happening as well. This is a meeting that's happening today at 11 o'clock. Actually, it's an all-day thing. You can drop in anytime to see these plans, 11 to 7. We'll talk more about this. This is the open house information session, talking about what's going to be happening here on the Deuce. And it's going to be held in the Family Housing Advisory Services building. That's 2401 Lake Street. And plans will be up on the wall. You can go in and check out the plans and have a discussion, talk to some folks, find out what's going on. We'll talk more about it as we go along, but this is going to be a pretty important situation here if you're interested in that PGOT corner that we're talking about. Trying to get behind.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into it. Before we get to the threads, I just want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Kimmer says, say my name.
Hey.
He says, I will be presenting on how to truly engage neighborhoods using an asset-based community development approach this Friday.
Nice.
Over at Empowerment Network. Cool.
Yeah. Also, just on that really quickly, I saw on that flyer also Vita Jeffries, who I believe will be having here on Friday as well. So yeah. Hey, we're talking all about it.
Yeah, you saw Vita on that day.
Yeah. She in there. She in there in the cut.
Got Vita Jeffrey coming in on Friday to talk about what's going on. Okay, yeah, she coming on. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna see what's happening here because if she's gonna be there speaking, I'll see what her strategy is. Okay, all right, Vita.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Appreciate that. Also, in the chat, I see RG says y'all playing hymns on the organ now.
A little chime, little song.
The upper room. He said, pass that donation plate. Right. He said, some don't need to give all, but some need to give.
But all need to give some.
Keep preaching. But all need to give some. All right. We want you to give us some of your attention and some of your comments and some of your questions and all that. And we'll be highly anticipating our special guests coming in too to talk about a few things. We are going to talk to them about lead remediation and stuff like that. But they're at the Douglas County Health Department. I'm gonna sneak in some other kinds of questions. Get your questions ready for Naudia McCracken and Noele S. We'll be talking to them shortly. But in the meantime, between time, we do have a thread, some very important and interesting things to talk about today. What's today's thread, buddy? What's happening?
Man, we're gonna be touching on a few things. Of course, we'll, as Paul mentioned, talking to our guests from the Douglas County Health Department. But as we know, this season is follow the money and health is wealth. So we're going to be making the connections and talking about all of it. Actually, I didn't realize that 24th Street BID meeting that you were talking about just a bit ago is a part of the International Economic Development Week. I didn't know that event was specifically a part of that, but we will be talking about that again. Mayor Ewing and Heath Mello actually put out an op-ed in Omaha World Herald on Friday, actually talking about not just kicking off Economic Development Week, which we are in the middle of right now, but some of the economic development plans coming down the pipe in Omaha. And actually, it's kind of interesting. Like when you talked about all the things that are happening in Omaha development wise, and a lot of people have things to say like, where is it? I'm not seeing it. When you see it on paper, it is kind of interesting. Like there's a lot of money going around and there's a lot of things happening with that. So we'll definitely be breaking down again what Heath Mello and Mayor Ewing had to say, but put it in the context of some other conversations happening in the community. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about the youth violence that's happening. Of course, some people, going back and forth on whether to blame the parents, whether to blame the environment, what is the cause of what's going on. And we all know that one of the main predeterminants of crime is poverty. So again, drawing that connection to the economic development and getting into the conversation of what's happening. Actually, there's some comments coming out from some interesting sources about the youth juvenile kids jail, as we call it, in downtown. We'll definitely be getting into that a little later on. But also putting it into context, shout out to Tanaya Patterson actually sharing some things about the cross section between youth juvenile and blight, which is one of the determining factors for a lot of this economic development. So again, if you see where we're going with all of this, we're talking about not just economic development, which is going to be a crown jewel for Mayor Ewing during his tenure, but also per my early kind of estimate, if you will, at the beginning of Mayor Ewing's tenure. If you remember, I said, he's going to do good in economic development, but it's going to be that criminal reform, criminal justice, police reform. How does he handle the community police relationship? So we're going to talk about how all of this is intertwined, and of course, how the environment plays a role in all of it as well. As we know, lead and lead poisoning, especially in our communities, has a connection to mental ability, cognitive ability, and behavioral ability. So yeah, we're going to get into all that and more throughout the next 2 hours. If there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not getting to, or any breaking news that you feel like the people should know, or just any more context to the conversation, because again, if you don't know, now you know. Our style here on First Guy Omaha isn't just to give you the news and to just, if it bleeds, it leads, and move on. We're having an ongoing conversation with all of you that is actually inspired by the conversations all of you are having amongst each other on social media. So again, let's get into it. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
What's the word, man? What's the
Man,
word?
just want to remind everybody where we're at as far as the dates are concerned. This is vote season, so things are coming up here. And May 12th is the primary election day, according to advocates. Make a plan to vote. Shout out to Precious McCracken. They're also talking about making a plan to vote early in person. This can still happen right up until the date that you got to be at your polls. So make sure that you know what your poll place is. Make sure that if you moved, you got to change your address. You got everything that you need in order for this thing to happen, and make sure that you got your ID. At this point, you gotta just make sure you didn't forget your ID, because hopefully you got it. You got it all set together. But yeah, definitely do that. Check your registration. Find your local election office. Don't forget your ID. If you're independent, especially if you're independent, you have to ask to request a Democratic ballot if you're going to vote Democrat. And then track your vote. You got ways to do that here too. So shout out to Precious McCracken. Just want to make sure that everybody still got those dates, because it is coming up. It is coming up, and that's all there is to it. It is the 6th right now. As you can see, there's on the 7th, they're going to extend office hours for early voting at the Election Commission office, another hour, 6 to 6 p.m. Then May 9th, Saturday hours are coming up as well. They're only going to be open from 9 to 1. So you'll have an opportunity to go in and vote in person on Saturday on May 9th. And then May 11th is deadline for in-person early voting election commission, because the next day you got to go to your polling place. So that's how that works. So just want to remind people of that. That's happening too. We'll be talking about it throughout the show as well, but just have to keep on staying on it. And, if you got people that you're talking to and trying to get busy with as far as taking them to the polls and teaming up together on this, now's the time to start making that plan. There's also a bus to the ballot that's happening on May 12th. Free rides on Metro, Orbit, and Moby. So the free ride situation is happening as well. And I just heard that Preston Love over there at the Visitor Center is giving rides to the polls for early voting as well. So you can check in with them at the Visitor Center and get a ride up to the Election Commission office and vote early. So a lot's going on, and we just need to keep it in your ear that that's what's happening. So there you go. In the meantime, between time, 7:18 already, if you believe in the concept of time, that is, and if you live in Omaha, Nebraska, that is. We'll be right back and jump into the conversation. Stay tuned. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Name is Paul B. He's buddy to God.
Hey.
Get ready, Omaha. Join us for the Omaha Freedom Festival, a free, family-friendly celebration of Juneteenth on June 13th at Miller Park. Enjoy free food, community resources, and family fun from 12 to 5 p.m. Play basketball, kickball, dance, activities for all ages. Enter for a chance to win great prizes. Download your free day pass now at omahafreedomfestival.com. Celebrate freedom, family, food, and fun. The Omaha Freedom Festival. Everyone's invited and everything's free. We're turning up the heat for Omaha Freedom Festival's night concert with Carrie Hilson, Life Jennings, and R&B superstar and Grammy-nominated Nivea, hosted by Josh Jones and music by DJ Chang. Don't miss one of the biggest R&B nights Omaha has ever seen. Join us Saturday, June 13th at Gene Leahy Mall Pavilion. Doors open at 7 p.m. Concert starts at 8:30 with fireworks after. Tickets at OmahaFreedomFestival.com or in person at LaFleur's New Look Fashion. Celebrate culture, music, and community at the Omaha Freedom Festival.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Once again, my name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guide. Shout out to you, the chat chimers that are joining us today. Also, the ghost listeners, and even the monitoring spirits that like to tap in and don't tell nobody they're here just to kind of spy on the situation and all that. We see you. Good morning, Heather Williams. Appreciate you coming in. Kimber Snipes in the chat says, I know a young man who has purposely put himself into poverty to really understand the process of what it's like. We met yesterday. It was really a great discussion. That's really interesting.
That is interesting.
Himself in poverty. Yeah.
There was actually an event.
In poverty, I should have did my own study.
Hey, you might can learn something. But there was an event last week that kind of talked about that. There was like a poverty simulation event. We didn't really talk about it on the show, but kind of came across that as I was preparing for the show. If anybody knows who knows about that or the organization that was behind that, drop that in the chat. But it's interesting, like to purposely put yourself in poverty. Yeah.
Love to hear more about that for sure. Appreciate that. Also, Marla Harris is saying something I am also saying. I really appreciate it. He said, shout out to all the conversations we're having on Friends of First Sky Omaha. We're going to have to dive into that for sure. Let's go ahead and jump in, buddy. What's first on the agenda?
Yeah. I mean, really, that's what's spurring a lot of this, today's episode as far as the conversations that are happening on Friends of First Sky. So big shout out to not just those who are, being active in the comments, but sharing stories, sharing resources, books. I mean, I definitely appreciate where this group is going. But I want to start off with something that's, in our style. I like to start in the affirmative, kind of doing the reverse of the bleed leads type of element in news that we see. And this is something that is quite interesting in what's being used and who is using it. Of course, TIFF, we've been talking about TIFF for a while, several years here on the show, specifically how TIFF has been used, and we'll actually dive into some of those projects and Mayor Ewing's op-ed here pretty soon. But I did want to give a shout out to Brother Brown, again, Donnell Brown, who is a developer with Spark CDI right there on the do. Shout out to Spark and the work that they're doing. And he's behind the developer behind this new project for elderly residents. 55 and older facility will be on 22nd and Douglas. This is being reported by KMTV. He recently received approval from Omaha City Council to use TIF financing for the new 70-unit apartment. Again, will be located around 22nd and Douglas Street. Developers say the location near public transportation and downtown attractions will benefit seniors and help boost development along the streetcar route, which we'll be talking about here in the first part of the show. But again, Brother Brown, who's behind this and a graduate of the Spark CDI Developer Academy, says a lot of times, travel is an issue for our senior community. So giving them ample public transportation options, go see some of these attractions that we have on the riverfront or the downtown park will definitely go a long way. And shout out to also Lavanya Goodwin, who supports the project, saying it will give seniors a great sense of community, saying it's a great reinvention of that space. I love that it's going to have programming for the folks who live there too, to help with just overall health support. But again, the big takeaway from this is, again, somebody from our community, a developer, a graduate of the Spark situation, getting TIF to develop something that is actually needed as far as, 55 and older housing. This is something I experienced a while ago, several years ago, trying to help my wife at the time, her grandmother find housing and having a fixed income, seeing what's out there. It's actually pretty limited. It's actually pretty limited as far as the options for our elderly brothers and sisters out there. So that, but also again, a positive example and just another, example of what we've been talking about as far as us from our community getting involved in some of these development, first getting the education and getting prepared to be developers, and then taking advantage of some of these projects which there's a lot. We'll be getting into that here in a second with this op-ed. But in the meantime, Paul, what say you on this story?
Yeah, not much. Just happy to see that too. Something a development here that's very much needed. I'm thinking. I read somewhere that this is going to be on a sliding scale, so it'll be somewhat affordable for a lot of the people that are going to be able to come here. What was the address of the area again that this is going to be in?
22nd and Douglas. So kind of downtown, like Nodo a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, close to downtown, close to north. So yeah, the location is interesting. And transportation wise, it'll be good. Anything that's down in those areas close to the airport, close to downtown, so that's always great. So and the 55 and older is that means that there's people that can kind of go stay there and still are pretty active in the community, still can live on their own and so on, but getting a discounted rate hopefully on some of this rent that's there. So yeah, overall I feel like it's a very positive thing. Yeah, we have been talking about TIF for a long time, and TIF has been used in all kinds of nefarious ways in the rest of the city. And we always talk about what is for and how it's supposed to be for blighted areas. What is blight? Where are the areas? So that's something to consider as well. But I do love that it's from the community, and it's addressing a need that our community has. So that's I kind of want to leave it there at the
Hmm.
positives on that on this particular situation. So yeah, what say you in the chat? Let us know how you if you've heard anything about this. Especially, I kind of want to know not necessarily just how you feel about it, but like if you have any connection to this project or need for any family members or people to move into things like this. What's your feelings on exactly like how many of these kinds of facilities do we need? Where else could they go? Let's get into some building, some constructive kind of discussion about like how we can expand this.
I mean, that's definitely where my mind is. A few people responding in the chat. Shout out. Good morning to all of you. Anthony Rogers Wright saying TIF isn't being used in Omaha, is being abused, which has been a part of the conversation that we've been having. But that's why this story for me, I wanted to start in the affirmative, because when you talk about TIF being abused, it's always again who is getting the advantage of TIF,
Mm.
who is taking advantage of this blighted designation. And when it's somebody from the community, what else like is that being abused? Again, this is somebody who is a graduate of the Spark CDI Developer Academy, which is again a resource that's available to all of us, and that's really my point. Like even though a lot of these TIF projects, are centering in downtown Omaha, there's not really a lot of focus in North Omaha. Some of the areas that we know are actually blighted, which will shout out to Tanaya Patterson, kind of giving us some context behind
Mhm.
this blight designation. But again, when it's developers from the community taking advantage of some of this, that there is an opportunity. Like both can be true as far as TIF being abused, and there's some opportunities for us to take advantage of this abuse and get some money into our community. And this is again kind of the point that I'm getting from the op-ed from Mayor Ewing and Heath Mello, which was published in Omaha World Herald on Friday, kind of laying out what they're calling momentum moving forward in economic development, and also kicking off, as I mentioned earlier, Economic Development Week, which we are in the middle of. Economic Development Week actually started on Monday, and again, as we mark the beginning of this week, per this article from Mayor Ewing, he says the streetcar project is a reminder of the work involved in making Omaha competitive for an upcoming workforce that wants more career, lifestyle, and transit options, competitive for companies that want to expand where a vibrant workforce exists, competitive against global upheaval. And he laid out some of the momentum that we have as far as development. He says first the momentum, the 950 million expansion of Epley Airfield, the 200 million expansion of CHI Health Center, also another $140 million soccer stadium and mixed use development plan for millwork builds on our downtown Renaissance. The recent opening of the $158 million Central Library, paired with progress at the Crossroads, he says creates new energy in Central Omaha. Also, last week's second Trader Joe's coming to town, which I did read about that. A lot of excitement. Also, redevelopment too. He says is underway in North and South Omaha. Continued investment in these and other designation places like Elkhorn, Benson, and Exarban Village are important. And again, on top of some of these small or bigger projects, as he mentioned, larger projects like what we are seeing in the Deuce, what we've been talking about along Ames Avenue. What I would like to see more of along the Miller Park corridor, kind of down in the Florence area. I mean, we've talked about Benson being a part of North Omaha and some of the development that's going on over there. Shout out to the folks at the Bay and the new skate park and things that they're building over there. So again, there's a lot of development happening around us, and again, our point, or I would say my point here, is us looking at it. Yes, there's a lot of development happening around us, but is there an opportunity for us to get a piece of the pie?
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
Yeah, not just an opportunity to get a piece of the pie, but even if we don't, even if we're not in those lanes in those fields, what kind of positive, upbuilding kind of situation can happen in our community with a lot of what's happening, and that's what I'm seeing as I talk to more people is so much talent and so many people out here that want to see North Omaha thrive, and really had to jump through some hoops and do some things in order to try to make some of this development happen, some of the money to come to the area. And I think about all the times we've talked to Senator Terrell McKinney, Senator Justin Wayne, former Senator Justin Wayne, when they were bringing money into the situation too for those same kinds of reasons, and how much work they had to do above and beyond their own jobs to get it here. And even to this day are still kind of battling on that front when it comes to the dispersion of that money. There's just so many people that are behind the scenes that are working on trying to make some things happen, and it really is a matter of whether or not you get tapped in with folks in order to do that. But again, like, got to be ready. There's I know that when I was looking at it probably about a year ago, I thought where do we have to be as a company, as a media company, as a group that's trying to report on these things and deep dive into these things in order to keep up with everything that's happening around here. So and we're constantly struggling on that, which is why we put content creator camps together and why we are reaching out to work with independent journalists and just to even keep up with what's going on and dive in and follow the money and do all the things that are happening, because of how fast the growth is happening out here is a lot. So we have to shore up our infrastructure personally just to get that going. And every other company I'm seeing out here that's being a part of it is doing the same. So yeah, positive stuff. I'm glad that you started off with this, and I'm really anxious to see that. I've been thinking a lot about this because I've been looking at units as well. I've been looking at 55 and older spots that some of my elderly family can move into, and looking around to see what's here and what's new, what's coming. If there's affordable coming, if there's like sliding scales coming with some of these places, because I also have the experience of talking to some folks that are paying upwards of $5,000 a month at some of these retirement facilities and some of these places, because rents are super, super high all over the place. As a matter of fact, some of the rents for the elderly is higher than actual regular rent. So yeah, to see some places, it just reminds me there's other people in our community that also see the same needs that I'm seeing and trying to do something about it. I think is super dope. What say you in the chat? I see in the chat, I was seeing, I think it was Mayor Sanchez that said TIF can be used anywhere. He said TIF can be used anywhere, not just blighted areas. It's supposed to be used for blighted areas, though. They have been using it everywhere, which is the abuse that Anthony Rogers Wright's talking about. They've been using it in Midtown and Blackstone and all these other places, and it was always questionable about whether or not those places are blighted. So I think it's interesting. Buddy, I see your wheels turning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. Shout out to Marlon Harrison and his comment. He says, with all these construction projects in and around North Omaha, it's providing a lot of jobs for construction workers, plumbers, and electricians, which is my point. That's my point. You know what I mean? Like, there's been actually in our community, there's been a huge push, especially for our young folk, which this is where I want to take the conversation as far as things to do for our young folk. And actually, shout out, you talked about some of the talent that we have in Omaha. Shout out to Dale Gines. Kimra's been telling us about the brother for a while. We definitely need to get him on. But did not know he was actually a member and a part of this International Economic Development Committee and a chief innovation officer, which this is an article from actually December of last year. But again, the conversation is still relevant, talking about brain drain and the mass exodus of especially young talent from the Omaha area and addressing some of the needs. Of course, talking about higher wage jobs, affordable housing, improved transit, attractive public spaces, responsible political leadership, all the things that we talk about here on the show. But again, are we going in the right direction? And personally, I do think, like what Marlon is saying, there's a lot of opportunity for those types of decent paying jobs, like a electrician, a plumber, a worker. And I think somebody mentioned AI earlier. Those jobs are kind of AI proof. You're not going to have AI wiring your electricity. You're not going to have AI, unclogging them pipes. So again, when we talk about all this development, there is opportunity out there, but we need to seize the opportunity because we see what's going on the flip side, which I do want to get to as far as what is there to do for our youth and the environment side of it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to dive into this economic development week situation here too. And again, shout out to Del Gines. We're going to reach out and invite him on the show. Kimmer has been talking about that. And I actually talked to him too. We talked about coming onto the show for some things. And when I'm thinking about talent and people that are have Omaha's kind of best interests at heart that are going for it, I think of cats like that are diving into it. So we'll definitely get into that and look and see what some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. I'm really glad that you found that op-ed because I hadn't seen that. And that it's been very interesting, some of the things that they're talking about there and laying it out. Like we've been talking about laying out we do it every show, just about talk about all these different big projects that are coming. And here they are laying it out in one document, really kind of giving you a picture of like how much money's coming in and so on and so forth. So yeah, lots to do. Like I said, we'll go to a break, but I'm really feeling like that's the issue to me is like whether or not you are ready or able or want to dive in and be a part of that, which is really the mission in the first place, is how much do you want to be a part of redeveloping North Omaha, especially or raising North Omaha up to certain levels, bringing more jobs, more opportunities in the situation. The second part of my brain is going, and then there's some opportunity here that you can take advantage of as well, because there's things coming in if you want to do that. But then as soon as I think that, I think, but am I ready? Is my business ready for that? Like, do we have everything it takes to jump in and get busy with those responsibilities? First thing though, really is how do I fit? How do I fit in doing that if that's my mission too, to big up the area? So I will take a quick break and jump back into this conversation. It's going to be very important. We have special guests coming on. We're anticipating our special guests that are going to be showing up here very shortly. They're from Douglas County Health Department. This is another part of the conversation we definitely need to be talking about, because when we think about blighted areas or things that's going on, especially in North and South Omaha, we think about all the lead remediation things that we have to deal with and everything, and how our environment affects us, and how building out that environment can affect us in the other direction. So that's kind of like where my thoughts are. But yes, stay tuned. Naudia McCracken and Noele Smith will join us. In the meantime, we'll take a quick break and come back and jump back into the conversation. Get ready for our guest. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. Buddy to God. Man, how y'all feeling on this Wednesday? Did you get some tacos yesterday? What y'all do? Did anybody go out? I know Cinco de Mayo parade is not happening until
like the 13th or something, right?
Yeah, the 15th. Oh, I had it here. Oh, here it is. Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, the parade is going down on the 15th. Friday, as a matter of fact, it's 3 day situation. Friday, May 15th through Sunday, May 17th. So when you talking about everybody being down there, it was already kind of packed last night. when I went down there for tacos. So it was, I thought at least the parade ain't going on right now. We never get anywhere over there to do that. So we were able to, but people were out. There was people out last night, big time. Celebrating Taco Tuesday and Cinco de Mayo on the same day. But let us know if you got outside yesterday. Let me know. Let us know what you did if you're enjoying. The weather was kind of chilly yesterday. Actually, it's kind of a little bit chilly today too, in the lower 50s. But it should be warming up here soon, and then the weekend is going to be extra nice and lots going on. We'll be talking about it for sure. I appreciate everybody that's coming up. Aeros42 says, I give up. Hit the like button if you want to. I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. Kimmer also says, I would say more, but I'm practicing my version of Nebraska nice. What do you do? Where's Kimmer? Oh, she says, Dale does not get respect. He deserves locally, but many people feel the same way. Yeah, you've been telling us about that, brother, for a minute. That's what it is. I appreciate that you have been doing that. In the meantime, between time, we got guests coming in and we're getting ready to set up for them. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I appreciate you guys coming in with the comments. Get ready with questions for your guests. And in the meantime, buddy, let's set them up. What's next?
Yeah. Because again, there's many layers to this conversation, and while we, of course, like to start with the positives, pointing to opportunities out there, things that we should be focusing on and taking advantage of, we got to be, realistic about the conversation, especially when we talk about economic development and the cross section between economic development and just the history of America, redlining, slums, our communities, the environments that some of us have to grow up in, which is why I do appreciate Tanai Patterson, who shared this on Friends of First Sky. This is actually a report from the Federal Emergency Administration of Public Works from the 30s, actually. Again, the Housing Division, Bulletin number 1, titled Slums and Blighted Areas in the United States. Again, looking at, that designation of blight and the cross-section between juvenile delinquency, crime, and the environment. What is the community investment in the community? Not just, the environment as the air and water quality, but the environment as what resources are available. What is that quality of housing that we're looking at? So again, shout out to Tanaya Patterson. I just wanted to read a quick excerpt from this, talking about, again, the link between housing development, economic development, environment, and juvenile delinquency. Rates of truants differ from those of juvenile delinquents, male and female. It says, but all present a strikingly similar pattern. All find their highest rates close to the loop or their lowest in outlying residential districts. All have high spots, though not the highest, near the stockyards and the steel mills. The highest male juvenile delinquency rates were just west of the loop. The lowest were the same. This is talking about the Chicago area. But in the 1927 series, the highest and lowest were just south of the loop and in outlying area, respectively. Again, just looking at the impact of some of the rail yards, which we talk about in Omaha as the rail yards and packing plants, which again was the driving force for redlining and that history and reality that we still find ourselves dealing with. Again, this is a report from the 1930s, but we don't have to go all the way back there to talk about that. Of course, what's happening right now with OPPD and, the air quality in our communities, and exactly what we'll be talking about with our next guest, the lead situation, which again is concentrated around these industrial areas. You know what I mean? These packing plants and these cold smelting areas and these steel and iron and all of these industrial facilities that our communities were forced to live around. We're still dealing with that. So again, you can't talk about economic development without acknowledging that history and the impact it has had on our mental development throughout history, and what's being done to remediate that, what's being done to fight that. And again, not just in Omaha, which again, Douglas County has been deemed the largest Superfund site in the nation. But as we are learning, it's actually a lot bigger than even it's being acknowledged right now. Before we get to our guests who are from Douglas County, there's actually even work being done out in Fremont. Again, it's not just Douglas County, but also the likes of, I believe, Saunders, Washington, and Dodge County are also having their own fights and own programs as far as fighting lead. Shout out to Three Rivers Public Health Department, who actually over the weekend had a free drive-through giveaway for families who are wanting to test for not just lead, but also they gave out radon kits,
Mm.
uh, colon cancer screening, and well water testing, which is also something we haven't talked about a lot. But the nitrates in the water, that's a national story. Again, many outlets are looking at what's going on to Nebraska's water situation as far as the nitrates and what that has, the impact that has, especially on youth cancer rates, fetal cancer rates. It's kind of crazy. But again, the point is the situation is not just the Superfund side, of course, is not just concentrated to North Omaha. It's really all of us that's dealing with it. But North and South Omaha is the epicenter of the situation. So again, we'll unfold that a little more here in a second. I don't know if our guests are coming up. I don't want to drag on too long.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I'm just cracking up at this study. Just thinking about like nothing's new under the sun. This has been going on. This has been going on back when the juvenile was going. Yeah, see, yeah, give me that apple. Yeah, see,
Yeah, copper.
I'm down by the rail yards. Come get me, copper. Going down. But yeah, it's still today. So we'll have to get into it because there was some incidents that went down in Omaha recently that had Don Klein, City County Attorney Don Klein, chiming up about him. Yeah, a couple incidents. We'll get to it. We'll get to it in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break and come back and jump in with our guests. So stay tuned. Get your questions ready. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God. And all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, and monitoring spirits, we appreciate you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. It's going down. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy the Guy. We have Noele Smith and Naudia McCracken in the chat. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us. Naudia, can you hear us? I think she's having some trouble getting on there.
Okay.
We'll keep working on it. But in the meantime, between time, let's go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. We appreciate you coming this morning, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Noele Smith. I am with the Douglas County Health Department in our lead poisoning program. I'm a community health educator. So Naudia is my supervisor.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Nice. Well, a little bit about yourself. You from Omaha? How'd you get in this work?
Yes, I'm from Omaha, born and raised. I went to school in Lincoln, got my degree in nutrition and community health education. So I'm exactly where I want to be. I've been working here for 4 years now and loving it. Been in the lead program the whole time, working on outreach. A lot of my role is doing community education and just making sure people are aware of lead poisoning and aware of all the resources and services that there are to address it.
Okay. Just a quick question. As a youngster myself, I was a part of the Lead Coalition. We would go to school doing plays. Do you still do that? Is that still the thing?
Gosh, I don't think so. It could have been before me, though. It could have been.
Yeah. I'm youngsters a couple years ago, but okay. Just think about that. That was something that had the youth going from school to school again, doing a play. Educating people about the lead. But again, why do you think that's important in your opinion? Why is this? What is the factors of lead poisoning?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's so important to educate the youth so that people are aware of it before they see these impacts. So a lot of our education is, starting with young parents, maybe even before they have children, so that they're aware of where lead comes from, how to make sure their homes are safe. A big thing that we do is we have free home inspections. So we will check homes that are pre-1978. That's when lead-based paint was banned. So homes built before then can have lead paint still. So we think it's a great idea to have this preventative inspection done. If you have kids, even before, we don't want to come in the first time, be a child having lead poisoning. We'd love to, address those things before we get to that point. So,
Love that. I'm having a flashback. Have you been on the show before?
yes,
I
we
thought
came.
so. Okay. Back in
Yeah, we
2025,
came
right?
last year.
Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought so. I was sitting here like, we've talked to her before, for real. Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool, cool. Well, welcome back. Appreciate you coming back. And it
thank
looks
you.
like we have Nadia in the coming back too in the chat. Let's see if we got her.
Yay.
There she is.
All right.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. I just had some issues, some technical issues.
Well,
Hey,
thanks for working it out and joining us.
listen, we do this live 3 days a week, 10 months out of the year. We have technical issues just about every time, so don't worry
It
about it.
happens. It happens.
The browser was just not working really well, so I had to switch to a different one.
Sweet.
Okay.
Okay, cool,
All
cool,
right.
cool.
Well,
I'm gonna
thank you.
I'm gonna bring you over here in the big screen so you can introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are and where you're from and how happy you are to be here. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. So my name is Naudia McCracken, and I'm the supervisor for the lead poisoning prevention program here at Douglas County Health Department. Been here for about 11 years. I'm not an Omaha native. I moved here in 2010, but I've been here since, and I have a little family raising my little girls here with my husband. And yeah, I'm really happy to be on the show to share the information that we have about what we've been doing at the county regarding lead poisoning.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I got
Actually,
here in 2010 myself, so I feel like we've been here long enough to say we in here.
yeah.
Yes.
Y'all here, and doing the work. So thank you. And let's jump right into that work. Of course, as we just acknowledged, we've been talking about this lead situation for actually some years now, not just with you all having you on the show, Noel, but we've been talking to Brother Steve Zivney as well with I believe the city of Omaha, some of the work that they're doing. So I'm kind of curious, where are we in this process right now? How many houses do we have? Like, how's this situation looking right now?
So the city's program that they have, that's more soil remediation that they're doing. And so under the current cleanup guidelines, they had about 300, I think, 300 more properties to clean up under the current guidelines. We do a little bit differently, different work. We focus more on children and childhood lead poisoning prevention. And so we go into homes where children are poisoned, where they have blood lead levels that are above whatever the CDC's value is set at. And so last year we had about 265 cases locally. And about 83% of those were in the 11 zip codes east of 72nd Street, where we see a lot of older housing. Majority of our cases are due to lead-based paint in older housing. That's where we see most children being exposed.
Paint. Okay.
And
we learned one time that the paint chips taste like or sweet or something like that too, right? Like sometimes they'll eat the paint chips off the windowsill and stuff like that. That's where that's happening. Yeah.
That's very,
actually,
very true.
I remember dealing with those paint chips. Like in my grandmother's house, she lived like in the Minnelusa area, kind of Miller Park area, and yeah, paint chips. Yeah, it was a thing.
I used to be a painter, so I used to have to wear the mask and stuff to scrape that stuff off. Like the hazmat suits almost just to scrape the lead paint off because they said it was very dangerous. Can you remind us about like how dangerous it is to children? Like what are the effects? What do people need to be looking for if they think that something's going on with their kid?
Yeah, so a lot of times actually you don't really see any sign or symptoms of lead poisoning until levels are very, very high. So that's why we recommend children get screened for lead. Symptoms don't really show up until years after a child has been poisoned. So you won't see, like there's low IQ. There are a lot of issues with the brain. It affects the development of the brain. A lot of the times there may be stunted growth because it's stored in the bones. So a lot of the outcomes are more neurological, where you don't see them later on after a child has been exposed. And so it's really hard to communicate about lead poisoning when parents aren't seeing, their children immediately being affected by it, despite their levels being high.
Wow.
So what's kind of the trigger for you to go into a situation and testing? Is it parents are calling in, or are there symptoms that are kind of finally showing up? What starts the process?
So for us, whenever that child has a lead test that's done, a blood test that's done to see if there's lead in the body, and so we recommend that every child up to the age of 7 have an annual screening for lead, and that's just a finger poke where they can see if that child has been exposed to lead, and that then will trigger our program. But we do offer free resources for families. So if they have chipping and peeling paint in their home, they can definitely call us. We'll go out if they have a child under the age of 7, and we'll do a free inspection and then provide recommendations so they can fix those hazards within the home before a child becomes exposed.
Yeah, and I'm just again thinking back to when I was a child, like just the simple look of that paint peeling off the wall entices children to want to pick at it and
Yeah.
meddle with it, and then even if they don't eat the paint chips, it's now on their hands. So it definitely is a dangerous situation. Um, what are some of the resources if a family does find that their child has been exposed? I know, as you mentioned, the city is doing soil remediation. I think there's some paint uh, resources as well. What uh, resources does Douglas County have?
So we don't do any of the remediation ourselves.
Right, right.
Ours is more of the health aspect where we'll come out, we'll do an investigation, see exactly where the sources of lead are coming from, those lead exposures are coming from, and then we provide them with those resources within the community. So the city of Omaha, they have a lead hazard reduction program through HUD. That means that they have some money to help homeowners as well as rental properties with fixing the lead hazards within the home. However, I will say that those resources are very limited within our community. There aren't a lot of resources available to fix lead-based paint for
Hmm.
people who may fall within the gray area, like their income isn't as low to qualify for certain programs. And so a lot of families fall within that gray area where, they have enough money to buy groceries. They're above that income guideline where it isn't considered poverty, but they still
Hmm.
can't afford to fix the hazards within their homes because it's so expensive to do so. You have to have certified individuals that are able to handle lead-based paint. And so it becomes quite a huge monetary burden on families. And
Mm.
so we would love to see more resources, maybe some nonprofits coming up, taking some philanthropic dollars to address this issue within our community. They say about 96% of housing east of 72nd Street was built before lead-based paint was banned.
Hmm.
So you can imagine the amount of hazards that we potentially have within our community where people are being exposed without resources to fix it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys personally go out to some of these houses or meet with the children and the families? You
Yes,
have
I'll let no, I'll talk about that.
yeah,
Yes.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah, so part of my job is with doing community outreach. I also do case management as well. So we'll
Mm.
go out to homes, we sit down with parents, try to ease their worries, especially if there is a case. We don't want them to be scared, but we have to take action. And so we try to educate them well. We really make sure that we're educating in a way that's easy to understand and so that they can remember. And so a lot of it is good nutrition for the child. A diet high in vitamin C, iron, calcium is the best way that you can get rid of lead quicker. Children
Mm.
who don't have diets high in those things tend to have lead longer, and then those
Mm.
effects could be worse. So, yeah,
That's
and then just
interesting.
identifying those sources with them.
That's really interesting because that ties in all other environmental issues that could affect them as well. And including just poverty, including
Hmm.
lack of
Hmm.
food sources, lack of
Hmm.
being able to purchase vitamins and so on and so forth. That's something else. In your case studies, is there anything? I'm wondering about situations that you've come across that were really bad, that really kind of really show
Man,
tugged at your heartstrings, and felt like you had to hurry up and do something for this family. How bad can it get?
Mm. Yeah, I think the cases that are always the hardest are when you have parents who are very overwhelmed. There's just, we'll go into homes where we're here for the lead, but then you're uncovering all of these other issues. Like you're
hmm,
talking about food insecurity, housing issues, rent issues, or especially sometimes if we have immigrants, you also are running into the cultural things that come of that and helping families. So, um, I find the cases that are the hardest are when we're not just there for the lead, that we're also having to remember that we're people that have to help for other reasons as well, and making sure that we have the right resources to help them and point them in the right direction as well.
Man,
And I do
this.
want to. Oh, I
Go
was
ahead.
just
Go
going to
ahead.
say, I was going to point out that we do work really closely with referring people to resources outside of what
Great.
we go into the home for, and we work very closely with WIC. So to tackle the nutrition side of it, the food insecurity side of it,
Mm.
and so there are a lot of referrals that we make with WIC to WIC for families to have that access to the food and those resources associated with that program.
Mm.
That's beautiful. I was just going to comment on. We were talking about homelessness, I believe, last episode. But it kind of dawned on me just the cross section that a lot of these individuals might find themselves. You know, the same people dealing with lead poisoning, like you said, would be the same people dealing with homelessness, the same people dealing with the lack of mental health, access. These are the same people, you know what I mean, that need
Mm-hmm.
just wraparound services. So I'm glad that you are working in that direction. I am kind of curious as far as the cases. How often? I don't know if you have the hard statistics, but how much of a connection do you see high cases of lead poisoning to behavioral and those type of issues, high suspension rates, things like that?
Well, in terms of what children are diagnosed with, like autism, speech delays, and so forth, we do conduct a questionnaire. We have an interview with the family. We ask, are there other things? And so we're able to tie that in. We just launched a system on our end, a GIS platform, where we can do mapping. And we can also see, we can also connect those lead levels with these other diagnoses, and we can actually filter them out
Mm-hmm.
analytically to see exactly what's going on with families. But yes, a lot of times we do see other issues associated with lead poisoning that are like autistic behaviors, the speech delays. A lot of times, more often than not, we do see those with the higher lead levels, especially if a child has been exposed to lead for a very long time. It's not just like a one-off kind of exposure, but it's an ongoing thing that they've been living with. But this platform, we launched it in October, and we're hoping that we'll this coming up to October, we'll have a year of data. We'll be able to have more informed decisions, see what we're seeing locally, that we can what we can change with our program and the resources that we're providing to people, and then maybe even change policy with
Mm-hmm.
that. And I did want to bring up, just to switch, we actually launched a survey in February, and the survey is going to be closing on May 15th, where it's open to the community. We want to hear from the community. Tell us about what you're seeing. We'd like to see some policy change. We do have a lead ordinance here regarding lead-based paint in Omaha, but we'd like to change that ordinance to be more encompassing of the other exposure sources of lead poisoning, have a little bit more teeth to it, especially for rental properties, because a lot of times the same rental properties are being recycled. And so you see, more families being exposed within those same areas. And we'll definitely share that link with you guys, so you can fill out that lead community survey. It's on our Facebook. It's on our fightlead.org website as well. And we'd like to get to 300 responses by next Friday. We have about 235 right now.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
very cool. Just let people know it's 8:03 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with special guests Naudia McCracken and Noele Smith on First Sky Omaha in the morning. If you're just
In the
joining us,
morning.
yeah, appreciate you guys tapping in. Pops in the chat said, "Yeah, we were living in at 3909, 3909." Pops, every
Hey,
time you
hey.
say that address, I got to sing it. He says, and we had tons of lead chips on window sills and got a small sharp piece of lead in my eye while playing in my yard. That house is now gone. So a lot of those houses that especially in the North community, everybody in my family that lives on North Side has a house that was built before 1970. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so there had to, like I said, I've been a part of many situations where I had to scrape lead off and repaint, and that just is something that happens. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. Kimmer in the chat says such great information.
Thank
Also,
you.
it is great information, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming on and talking with us about this. It really is in the thread of the things that we've been talking about today. Of course, the coal plant is a part of the situation here. We have our resident environmentalist Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat talking about that. Yeah, interesting question here. He says, does the health department discuss or lift up the issue of ambient lead exposure via the burning of coal? flue gas is and fly ash are very pernicious, and I don't see this discussed very often. Do you guys know anything about the ambient lead exposure coming from the coal plant?
So in our lead program itself, we do not look at that. However, we do, our air quality division, our air quality section, they look at ambient air and they look at a lot of that, the emissions coming from that, and so they're the ones that would monitor it. But we haven't really seen a whole lot of data associated with that, so I can't speak to it as much right now.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and that was my other thought too. Is do the departments kind of intertwine with each other? Are you guys involved with the other parts of Douglas County Health Department? Yeah.
Yes, we most definitely are. In fact, Noel heads up like a department-wide outreach team
Ooh.
that we have monthly meetings and we discuss how we can coordinate with the other programs. We do a lot of coordination with our sanitation department when we're going out into homes to coordinate those efforts with
Wow.
our air quality section as well, especially regarding mold. In homes, we
Mm.
make a lot of referrals to them. And then with our food safety and compliance section, we do a lot of coordination regarding lead in consumer products like spices, which is the second
Mm,
leading cause of lead poisoning in Douglas County.
mm.
Spices.
That's interesting.
Spices, yes.
That's very interesting. There's water factor in it. Kind of thinking about back to Anthony Rogers' Wright's question. Believe I want to say it was the mayor, but I'm not sure exactly. We had a conversation with somebody who did mention that some of the coal it could possibly be, our water treatment plants are open. They're open. So again, whatever's in the air could definitely fall into the water. So does that factor into some of your testing?
Yeah, so we don't do the water testing. MUD will do the water testing for us. So
Okay.
if we go out to a home, we identify there's a leaded service line at that property, we or leaded plumbing. We will then refer them to MUD. Then they'll do the testing for them. If there is a leaded service line or lead is identified at that property, they will then get a pitcher, a water pitcher that has a filter in it to filter that water out until those lines can be replaced. And MUD is replacing service lines currently. I think their goal is like
Hmm.
1,500 a year. And so we've been working with them. I think, in fact, today I have a meeting with them to talk about
Okay.
coordinating what they're doing with what we're doing, especially regarding the health aspect of it. We want to make sure that it's done right. Yeah, so the MUD also has a report that they've put out with what they've tested the water for.
Mm.
And where those levels of heavy metals or bacteria, water quality, basically, where all those are. And I think it's a quarterly report that they have posted on their website.
Hmm.
Tell MUD when you meet them today, I need my bill lowered. Number one.
That
Also,
part. That part.
also, do you guys do your own independent studies and research? Because ever since OPPD put this one out saying that coal doesn't affect the North Omaha, we don't trust it anymore. Do you guys do your own independent research on this stuff?
Yeah, so we do our own testing. So when we go into homes, we test dust in the homes to see what the lead levels are
Mm.
within the homes, and we do a lot of coordination with other universities. There are a lot of people that are interested in lead. We have students at UNMC that are interested in lead,
Mm.
and so they do projects with us where they look at the data that we've collected. We also, I do want to put out there that we have launched a dashboard where we
Okay.
have information about lead. There is a lot of data on the zip codes that where we have children that have been tested for lead, where we see
Mm.
children being poisoned. We have maps out there as well, so you can see where more lead poisoning is occurring, as well as who's being screened. And then there's some FAQs as well, and so that's also on our fightlead.org page. You can click on there; it'll take you to Douglas County Health Department's webpage, and there's like a little dashboard page there. It's a roundabout way of getting to it, but there's a dashboard page there that you can click on and you'll be able to find our information as well, and we can share that with you
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
audience too. It's a really great source of information so the public's informed. You can see where exposure is happening and then start thinking about what you can do. Take the survey. We really need the community feedback to push things through to make those changes that we want to see in the community that'll be beneficial to everyone living here.
Love
Yeah,
it.
actually, getting some love in the chat. Anthony Rogers Wright says, "Clear. Both these sisters are paragons of public service, and both possess maximum integrity. Love to see it." So, yeah, definitely. Thank you for being in the fight because it is, pretty. It's it's important. I don't even feel like important is really doing the work justice. But it is important, especially when you think of the history of redlining, which is also in the back of my mind when we talk about this. Paul, you got
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Miss Smith over here. You said you got a task. You're putting together a task force. You're gathering all of the departments and stuff together to have these meetings. I'm wondering about you and your team. I'm wondering about your team up with these other departments. How do you feel your department is supported when it comes? Do you feel like you got enough people, enough support in order to really kind of tackle what's going on in the community?
Yeah, I think we have a really solid foundation. I think there are a lot of people at the health department that are particularly interested in the community outreach portion, which I think is just the most important part about public health. That, I mean, without proper outreach to people, you just don't reach them. So, like just yesterday, I was with our general assistants and our clinic and STI sections. We were at an MUD OPPD outreach event that they were having for utility assistants. And so
Oh, yeah.
it's just like a really cool way that we're there while other people are here for OPPD and MUD things. It's such a good connection. So I think at the health department, everyone's doing really good. Of course, the work continues. We're always looking for feedback and ways that we can better reach the community. But I think that we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely, since you're on our show, you must be doing.
Hey, doing something right.
This is the season for us. The season is season 4B is follow the money. So I do have a question for you, Miss McCracken, about funding. Do you feel like there's enough funding coming to your department to tackle a lot of what you see out there, what your study reveals is needed in our community?
I think regarding the part that we're doing in public health, we do have quite a lot of funding because of the Superfund site. We're very fortunate to have some of the funding that we have compared to the rest of the states,
Mm,
and especially our state. There's very limited funding. But I think what we need more money for is actually remediation and
mm,
fixing the housing that we currently have within our community. There isn't a lot of money invested in that currently. There were a lot of cuts made to HUD programs, and so we are definitely seeing that. And so now I think we need to start turning the conversation to where we have a lot of money locally here in Omaha. A lot of rich people live here. So there is philanthropic dollars available. And I think we in our community, whether it be nonprofits or the city, we need to start going after that money and getting the housing fixed. Because at the end of the day, the health department, we can test how many ever children we want, but that's what we call secondary prevention, where
Mm.
we're waiting for a child to be poisoned for us then to be activated. We need to be fixing the actual issues within the community, fixing the housing. There needs to be more money allocated for housing and fixing that.
that seems to be the story of everything. Prevention. There's not enough money in prevention. It's always you got to have the problem first, and then somebody's got to come and try to fix it. Buddy, I see your wheels turn. I'm gonna get to you in a second because I'm gonna jump. Tony Johnson in the chat is asking, do neighborhood associations play a role in your outreach? Are you dealing with neighborhood
Yes.
associations? Okay,
I
cool.
was actually just emailing some neighborhood associations yesterday with our survey. So yeah, we partner with the city and we'll often go and do talks at neighborhood associations. We'd love to go to more. So
Mm.
if you're in your local neighborhood association, give us a call. We'd love to come and talk to you about our resources and you have an even more in-depth conversation about lead and how we can make sure your home is safe. But yeah, that's a lot of the outreach that we do. They're really good partners.
Nice. We actually have Sister Kimra, who's ED of One Omaha, who does a lot of work with the neighborhood associations on the citywide level. I'm not sure if you worked with her, but might be another great contact. I'm
Yes.
also wondering, community health organizations like NOAA, Charles Drew. Are you in frequent conversations with those organizations? Community World Health, I believe, in South Omaha as well.
Yes.
Yes, we are. We
Okay,
do a
great,
lot of
great.
work with the federally qualified health centers within our community, with the WIC clinics that are located there, as well as their regular clinics pushing lead screening. They see a lot of people who are burdened by this problem. And so they're some of our big partners that we have. They do a lot of screenings within our community to reach people. And so, yeah, we work very closely with them.
Man.
I'm very encouraged by the 360 kind of way that you guys are
Mhm.
approaching this. I was just thinking that you guys were just concentrated on lead, but it's obvious that you're working with other departments, and you go to a place and you can see that there's other problems there, and you address those things, not just leave it. So I think that's very awesome. Any pain points? Anything that you think you guys need to improve? And anything that you would like to see better, different, or more of besides just the like funds for some of the remediation things, anything in the way that the system works with our local government, legislators and mayors and governors.
Yeah, with the survey that we have out, it's really to raise awareness about this issue, but to get community buy-in. And so we do want to see some policy change here locally regarding remediation. A lot of the soil remediation is voluntary currently. So if you're living in
Mm.
a rental property and your landlord decides, no, I'm not gonna, clean up the soil, that's
Ooh,
fine currently. And
Mm.
wow.
so we're looking to see if we can change that, and but that can only change with the voices from the community, with people speaking up. Just because you don't see the effects in your child currently doesn't mean that that's going to not affect your child later on in life. It can
Mhm.
lead to a lot of lost earnings later in life, the quality of life that someone has, neurological, like depression, diseases like depression. Schizophrenia has been linked to lead poisoning. And so there are a
Mm.
lot of issues that
Mm.
you see later on. And there are a lot of studies out there. Lead is one of the most studied poisonings, heavy metals that we have within our society. And so I think we just need, we're going out there, we're talking to lots of people, but we also need them to join in the fight with us to start speaking up and to advocate when they go to the doctor's office to get their children tested, because testing has gone down since the pandemic,
Mm,
and still we're still struggling to get those numbers up. We've increased our screening capacity that we do locally with health department funds, but however, outside of clinics, we are not seeing as many people taking their kids to get tested. And so if we don't have that data showing what's happening in our community, if you're not taking your child to get tested, we don't know what's going on. And people may say, oh, the rates have gone down, these children aren't there, aren't as many children poisoned, but in reality they aren't being tested. And
Mhm.
so we implore parents, if you know of children that are living in your community, talk to their parents if you're listening to this podcast, and advocate for them to get tested. That's really what we'd like to see being done.
awesome.
Man. There's a comment coming from what we call Mama God in the chat. She says, "I called for soil testing and told not in lead zone." She's asking, "Where is the lead zone?" And I'm kind of adding on for those who kind of find themselves in the situation in that situation. How do they go about remediation and testing?
Mhm.
So the city of Omaha has a website. It's called the Omaha Lead Registry. You can go onto that website. You'll be able to type in your address. And you can see if the property has been tested, if it qualifies for tested. It's kind of like a map, basically, and it'll pull up that information associated with it. And so that's the Omaha Lead Registry. But the city of Omaha, they're responsible for the soil testing here in Omaha. Now, when we go out to a home and we're told if a child's eating soil, we'll take a sample as well, to see what those lead levels could be in that soil. But the city of Omaha is responsible for that testing, and the website that I mentioned, the Omaha Lead Registry. That's where
Mhm.
you'll go to get that information.
Hashtag
So if
kids be dirty. They be eating dirty
man
eggs and
eating
stuff.
dirt pies, all that. So if you find yourself outside of that super fun site, that designated area, are there no resources for you as far as remediation, or you just personally have to call the city?
I would definitely say reach out to the city of Omaha.
Okay.
The EPA is currently reevaluating our site, since the screening levels for lead did changed. They used to be
Hmm.
400, now they're 200.
Hmm.
And so our site is currently being reevaluated to see if the Superfund site is going to expand.
Mm,
And so if it'll go out into Council Bluffs, if it'll go out into Sarpy County, if it'll expand more west. And so it could mean in the future that the EPA comes back in and they'll start doing more remediation in other yards as well. But currently, I think the furthest that the site goes out west is up to 56th Street at the furthest point.
Mm.
But that information, again, reach out to the city of Omaha, ask those questions.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Before you came on, we highlighted the story out in Fremont, Saunders and Washington and Dodge counties. are also doing lead testing and things like that. Which Paul, you mentioned the OPPD report earlier, and I did want to mention as far as EPA. I'm glad you mentioned they lowered the threshold because that does impact how we view this situation. I mean, again, there could be a lot more people in the crosshairs, a lot more people impacted by this. But the EPA has this arbitrary threshold that they find that the goalpost moves, which changes the whole conversation. So thank you for
Big time.
acknowledging.
A lot of it is definitely up to money, how much money is available to address this issue. And so I think that definitely impacts a lot of the levels that are set. No lead is good. There is no level of lead that our body can tolerate. So
Mhm.
that's
There
why
you go.
it's so important.
Needs to be and go away. I love it. Appreciate you guys coming in. We're about 5 minutes past our agreed upon time for you guys to be here. I hope we're not making you late to anything by you guys staying on, but we appreciate you. I'm echoing Anthony Rogers Wright saying that it's clear your sisters are paragons of public service and both possess maximum integrity. Love to see it. I love to see it as well. And I'm also thinking about like how long you guys been in your jobs. You guys obviously feel satisfied with the work is happening. You feel like there's progress. You feel like there's accomplishment there, and you love serving the people. What you're doing, really appreciate it. We spoke earlier about Kimra Snipes, who's head of South Omaha Neighborhood Association, ED of One Omaha, and works with all the neighborhood associations in the city. She says, "Look, I was already working on an email to both of y'all. If you can get me connected." She
Yes,
said,
yes.
"The wheels are already turning." And then she said, I'm sure they know my guy Andy Wessel."
Yes.
Cool.
And he's great.
It's the best.
Yes, yes.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much. It's a complete pleasure having you guys on the show. Really
Yes.
appreciate you coming. Yeah, we'll have to have you on again at some point and
Yeah,
get some
Yes.
happy
updates.
to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
Thank you.
guys.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
Too.
All right, we'll go ahead and let
All
them get
right.
on their way there. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
man.
cool.
A lot of information, but again, it is important, and of course that I always draw the connection that ugly history of redlining still rearing its ugly head.
Big time, bro. Big time. We're gonna take a quick break and come back and smell the coffee beans a little bit. Get back into the conversation. There's still lots to talk about,
Man,
and a few things that I'd love to even dive into from some of the stuff we just talked to the guest about. So we'll be back. Get your comments ready. Let's have some more discussion. Stay tuned. It's First Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's
Hey,
Buddy the
hey, hey,
God.
hey.
Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God. Appreciate you guys coming through. I see a Kimmer says Jose Flores is in the leader of the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. Okay, cool. I know you was running a lot of that stuff, so I just wanted to just took a guess, threw it out there. I appreciate you setting me straight. But we can't deny all the work that you guys have been doing, but that you in particular, Miss Snipes, has been doing as far as neighborhoods are concerned. You totally changed my whole brain about the importance of neighborhood associations and alliances and so on and so forth. And we still consider ourselves a digital neighborhood association here because of you. So appreciate all the work that you do. And nothing can really happen until it happens on that ground level and boots to the roots kind of level. And that really can only happen when we get together when that kind of stuff is concerned. A couple of haps that are coming through. Just wanted to kind of reiterate a few things that's going down on this Sunday. come celebrate Mother's Day. This is happening on the Deuce. This is happening at Dreamland Park, 24th and Lizzie
Hey.
Robinson. They've already been firing this up. I got to see a little tail end of some performances last Sunday, but this Sunday I'm gonna make sure I get there at 5 o'clock. This time I came late, thinking they was gonna jam late, and they were done in like 45 minutes. I was like, we should have came earlier. So definitely show up this Sunday, 5 o'clock. Our cousin Nate Bray is down there in the 24th Street Legacy Ensemble. See my man Grover Livkins there, man. Man, it was nice. I was really having a good time checking this out, and it's always cool. Bring a chair, bring some snacks, make it a thing. It felt like Native Omaha days on the Deuce last Sunday when we went. Yeah, it was that.
Vibes.
It was deep. Cars driving by, people in chairs, cookout type situation. It was all over the area there surrounding that park. Very vibrant, very very fun. So they're really doing a lot of promotion on it right now for this Mother's Day thing. Definitely show up if you can. From 5, it goes till about 8 o'clock, 5 to 8. Some of the other haps that are going on. There's the open house, small business development center. Speaking of small business month or week or whatever we in.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Entrepreneurs, behold, MCC Small Business Development Center. There's an open house at the Ashton. So this is going to be a new spot at the Ashton that's at 1106 North 12th Street. So down there in Nodo, the Ashton is over there, kind of close to like where Webberize is at, the
Squad.
Mastercraft building, right? The Squad. Wednesday, May 6th from 10 a.m. to 3:30. You can drop by anytime. Go check it out. It's a new spot that MCC is opening up, representing over there in Nodo, North Downtown. So MCC at the Ashton. Go check that out on today. As a matter of fact, today, anytime that you're running around the day, if you can get over there, definitely check it out. And then, of course, we have to reiterate that this is happening this weekend, Friday, May 8th. Definitely check out the 19th annual Rebuilding the Village Conference and Revive Black Business Expo. Go ahead and register. You can go to rtvomaha.com, or you can hit that QR code and definitely be a part of this. Be a part of this. We talk about this all the time. We talk about what's being done. What are they doing? Who's in the network. This is the best way to find out what's going on. And also more importantly, rub some shoulders, connect. Rub some elbows with some folks there. Connect, talk to folks, speak face to face, find out what their resources are, get a sense of what people are trying to do to really enhance life in North Omaha, especially, and for Black businesses, especially. This is the thing that strikes me. A lot of times we talk about business and we sometimes talk about Black business. We sometimes talk about our business being Black owned. I see a lot of people sometimes shying away from that. Sometimes they want to say we're a business and we're catering to everybody, and sometimes they don't want to say we're Black owned because that'll put a stigma on it for some people. This is one of these organizations. Revive is one of these organizations that are specifically out here for Black business, to make Black business thrive. In other words, if you're not a Black business, then you don't receive any of these benefits here. So that was what struck me, the couple of Revive meetings that I went to, like how much there's resources out there and help out there for people, for Black businesses in particular, wherever they are in the city. So definitely check this out. Rebuilding the Village Conference and Revive Black Business Expo, Friday, May 8th. If people don't start going to these Empowerment Network meetings and Revive business meetings, especially those. There's the 360 that happens every week. They meet with the police, so on and so forth. That's, to me, a different thing. That's them trying to make sure that we are all staying in community and try to take care of some of the crime stuff that's going on. But there's also business stuff happening all the time, building going on all the time with Revive and Empowerment Network. If we don't start really hitting these up, we can't really say we know what's going on with influx of money or any of the resources or any of those things. We got to go. We got to participate. We got to see what's happening at the very least, if we have any doubts. For those of us, I'm recognizing that there's even more of us out here that have already had dealings with Empowerment Network and Revive and see the benefit and is all about it. So for those of you that are all about it, let's get together. Let's do some reviving. Let's do some building. And let's make sure that we are understanding what the network actually is. So appreciate everybody who has already signed up for that and is on that tip too. Also, I want to give a shout out to Pastor P. She got this on her page, Black History Community Presentations, that's been going on since February. The next one that's coming up is May 23rd. Put this on your calendar because it's going to be all about HBCUs and Brown versus
Hey.
Board of Education. Yeah,
Hmm.
you might like that. Yep. Time and location: Saturdays at 11 from 11 to 12:30 at the Learning Community Center, North Omaha, 1612 North 24th Street. Who should attend? Elementary, middle, and high school youth, adults, and elders are all welcome. This space is for families, neighbors, and the entire community to team together, to learn together. Excuse me. So yes, definitely check this out. Hit that QR code so you can register for this and be a part of what's happening here with the Black Heritage Saturdays. Black Heritage Saturdays. Next one, May 23rd. Check it out.
Man.
And with that, we'll jump back into the conversation. Buddy, how you feeling over there, by the way?
Oh, feeling good. The conversation is rolling along, thinking ahead, wrapping my mind around, trying to, get the most out of this last 30 minutes. But as the show goes, man, we're always in lock and step. Kimra's talking about exactly what I'm thinking. You talk about what I'm thinking. It flows. It flows. We in it right now. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Big time. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Before we get to the next thing, I just want to jump back in. Tony Johnson says, what does anybody know about the Plains Sentinel? Looks like a new media source in Nebraska, seeing more online popping up from them. I think we ran across them at some point on something, right? Already?
Yeah. We pulled a couple articles from them that we talked about here on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on the list for us to do some little bit more deep diving in it, of course. Also in the chat, Kimmer says, let's talk about the Digital Neighborhood Association. I have some thoughts. All right, cool. Yeah, appreciate it. She says, I'm glad you said that, Paul, coming because I feel like it needs to be expanded. 360 is definitely a separate thing with its own mission. Yeah.
Explain. She said explain.
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
But yes.
Needs to be explained. Yeah. Makes sense. That's what I'm seeing from it. So yeah, different mission in and around all that stuff, trying to make the environment better for business to be able to thrive. There is the thriving of the businesses too.
That's where I want to end this conversation. And I'm glad you set it up just perfectly as far as, laying that out. And it is two different missions as far as addressing some of the crime, some of the things that are happening in our community, and also addressing economic development opportunities, creating those opportunities, recognizing those opportunities, taking advantage of those opportunities. Two different things, but of course they're intertwined. Like you just mentioned, especially when you talk about economic development, a lot of the determinants of, what brings businesses and jobs into our communities are everything we've been talking about. What kind of tax economic developments, that's what TIF is. That's what kind of tax economic development opportunities are there for businesses? What is the environment? Do they have to, are the lots shovel ready? What's the crime situation like? All of these things impact economic development and, quality of life. It's all interconnected. You can't talk about one without talking about the other, which is why I wanted to end this show with, acknowledging some of the conversations that have been happening in our community surrounding youth violence and put it into the context of everything else as far as, the environment that our youth are forced to grow up in, some of the economic opportunities that may or may not be there or at least be perceived as being there. All of these have an impact on the conversation. So again, let's have it because a lot of y'all been having a lot to say, whether or not parents are to blame for what we're seeing. Of course, Don Klein chiming up on the situation. So we can kind of start there with the latest. Of course, we don't like to talk about these types of incidents here too much on the show because there's 360. There's a lot of conversation already surrounding these things. But again, in the context of following the money, context of economic development, context of what we're going to do as a community, we definitely have to acknowledge it because there are plans and there are solutions from outside the community for the problems that we face in our community. And is that the solution that we want from our community? Again, and this coming on the heels of the situation that happened with three young folk. Again, a robbery took place on an Omaha bus. And the oldest suspect, I believe, was on probation, 17 years old, youth. Again, all of which would qualify for juvenile justice court. So, but again, in Nebraska, we are in Nebraska, a state where they like to, treat our juveniles as youth and, even down to our 9-year-olds being detained. So
as adults.
As adults. Thank you. So yeah, definitely is something that we have to talk about. And at the center of that, of course, is Douglas County Attorney Don Klein, who says youth crimes are higher than he's ever seen before. Again, as a longtime attorney, he says the crimes are getting more violent and more frequently involving guns, saying juvenile court's jurisdiction ends when a person reaches the age of maturity, which is 19. However, the closer people get to that age, the more difficult it becomes, according to Klein, more difficult it becomes to send them to juvenile court because the process itself takes time. And he highlighted programs like programs that rehabilitate youth like Boys Town, but he says the only place for what he calls violent young people are YRTCs, saying not a whole lot of other options for them. Basically, lock them up. There are no other options. That's Don Klein's option. That's his solution. But before we get to your thoughts, Paul, before we get to your thoughts, chat, I did want to lay out the problems that I see with the solutions from Don Klein, being Boys Town and the YRTC. The issue with incarceration as a solution to violence and crime is incarceration does not, and has historically been studied, does not help. It only worsens the situation. Most people who go into incarceration come out institutionalized, come out trained, actually sometimes come out better at crime. And specifically when we're talking about our youth, it's beyond that. We're talking about sending, not where, let me correct it because I feel it boiling. Don Klein is talking about sending our youth into facilities that have historically been linked to youth sexual violence. Do I need to talk about Boys Town? Let's talk about the YRTCs that he's talking about. What about the troubled Kearney Youth Center that's been reported on? Shout out to Sarah Gensler and Flatwater Free Press, that also has been connected to child abuse. These institutions aren't the answer. And Don Klein need to get up out of here with that nonsense. Locking our kids up is not the answer. So, in this last 20 or so minutes, we got to talk about what is the answer. What is the answer? And, you know, I always say a broken clock is right twice a day. You'd be surprised. I actually agree with this post from the Omaha Police Officers Association and wanted to echo this question to all of you. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, right. But again, locking the youth up is not the answer. So much so that all the solutions that they presented suck. They're not working. We talked about the attempt to try to move our youth to another facility, which now they're going to have to charge more. That's a whole nother story. But before we get to that, let's talk about this kid jail downtown that still is not open. And again, the Omaha Police Officers Association, this, again, a broken clock is right twice a day, and this just must happen to be the time of day that they're right. Because I agree. Again, the post reads, $27 million plus nearly $20,000 a month in taxpayer money, and the new youth center still sits empty nearly 3 years later. The resources and services never showed up. County leaders moved forward with the project even after years of concerns about whether it was big enough to work. At this point, taxpayers deserve answers and families deserve solutions. Again, I have to agree. When you're right, you're right. So we asked the question, what should Douglas County do with the building now? We'd love to hear ideas because obviously the kid jail situation ain't working. Chat, Paul, what say you?
We've speculated on some of these things already before as far as what that is concerning. I definitely have reached out to some people in the county to come on to the show, and we'll reach out to them again to talk about this because they need to find out what it is that's on their mind about what's going to happen. What's the plan? We can come up with all kinds of different ideas on some things to do with the building, but again, we're not the ones that will be making the decisions on that building. They will. So they need to answer these questions about what it is they plan on doing. We don't get very solid communication all the time on what the plan is. So I'm more concerned with that before I start trying to do some imaginings on what we can do with it. So you know that's just what it is. Heather Williams in the chat. You know, first of all, like Heather Williams was saying, those places are not for our children. Number one.
I have to push back on what you said, Paul.
Really?
Yeah, I have to push back because you said the Douglas County commissioners are the ones ultimately making the decision, right?
Somebody will have to make a decision on that building that's above me. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's Douglas County. And even they're not above you. They work for you. You pay taxes. These are elected positions. Like our mentality is messed up in that. They work for us. We decide what they're gonna do because we're paying for it. $20,000 a month. Then we just pay taxes. We should decide where our tax money is going.
This is true. I agree with that for sure. There's a process. We got to figure out what that process is and do something about on that process. Come up with the ideas for what there is to do about it. But again, you're right. I mean, of course you're right. Like we are the ones that are paying for this, and the kids are the ones that are paying for it. With the threat of having to go to it. So somebody, yes. Again, there can't be no figuring it out though without being in dialogue with them. They got to come. These are the people that have built it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That have made the decision to leave it sitting there like it is, and made the decision for us to have to be paying for it. We need some answers. I mean, that's what I meant by that. Like Heather Williams was saying, they answer to us. We need some answers.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit here and speculate all day long what to do with the building. I'll turn it into a studio and a taco joint myself with some rooms where you can go pass out after you eat too many tacos. So like, don't ask me what to do with the building. We need some answers from them. We need some answers from them on that.
I hear you.
We got off onto that point, but I wanted for us to kind of stick on this discussion that's been going on Friends of First Sky Omaha about the situation. Yes. So Don, we're talking about these decisions that you're making. Of course, you led with locking them up is not the answer. Don, there's what is the answer? What is the solutions? I think it all kind of really fired off from Marlon Harrison's comment. Marlon Harrison was kind of one of the first ones that spoke up after this incident went down, after Don Klein said what he said, or maybe he even chimed up before Don Klein said that, I believe. He said, after morning coffee thoughts, I noticed that too many of y'all are scared to call out the bad parents. He said, yes, we can blame the system, racism, and the patriarchy system, but at the end of the day, you can only use those excuses so much, and too many times y'all won't call the bigger issue, which is the S parenting that a lot of you parents do. So this is not a new statement from Marlon Harrison, man about town. Marlon Harrison has been saying this for a while. Parents, he sees parents being the issue, and I have to say, so do I. I have to also say, I've talked to some other folks that got boots to the roots, like Brother Kasim over at the BAA, for instance, in Brother Sherman Wells. We all have conversations about, yes, we cannot leave out that a lot of times it's the parents. Other people in the community I've talked to too is like, yeah, when the kid going through something, when you look at the parents and sent them out there to do that foolishness, and a lot of times that's what it is. Especially older generations that know the parents and know the grandparents and have seen this, happen out over time, and it is that. And parents, legally responsible for what their kids are doing under a certain age. For some things, I've said it before myself. You can if you buy your 16-year-old a beer, you can get arrested for that. Or if your kid gets caught with some beer and they were under your watch, you can get in trouble. Like, what's the point at which you can do that? But what I got back was a big outpouring of people saying, there's also parents out here doing the best they can. We can't forget the system. Terrell McKinney's came out with something that I thought was pretty poignant. He said, parent accountability matters, but it's not the whole story. Said, I've seen accountable parents with kids who still struggle, and the opposite too. He says that alone tells you that this isn't just about parenting. Systematic oppression and racism shape outcomes. Ignoring that doesn't change it. A child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. The African proverb. So I love the fact that Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, came in and reminded us about one of the reasons why he's a senator. One of the reasons why he's in the fight in that lane, which is that systematic oppression and racism shape outcomes. Systematic oppression is something that we have been talking about this whole show, with the fact that we don't have enough money to remediate lead in people's homes right now. which is Anthony Rogers Wright bringing up PPD, air quality. We're thinking water quality, nitrates in the water. We're thinking all these things that can mess up the brains of the kids. And then on top of that, they're in situations of poverty, which it doesn't which is tough. So you can do the best you can do, but there's still all these systematic environmental things around that also is part of that. But there is sometimes lack of parenting situations too. We just talked about Tanaya Patterson earlier in the show, giving us some history lessons. Back when there was, see, give me that apple. See, back in those days when they was doing all that, they were also in the Bowery. They were also in those areas where there was industrial. Everybody poor living right next to industrial everything all the time. And then healthcare is not to the point where you can be able to. We ain't in Mexico. We don't get universal healthcare right now. So then what do you do then? Also, Kimberly Sherrod, who is president of the North Omaha's Native Omaha Club, she said, "I contemplated making this statement. It's unpopular for many. I work in this space for years and have witnessed firsthand parents who did all they could for their children, yet the children went in a different direction. Not all parents are to blame for the children and their young adults' decisions. Not everything parents do while raising their kids come from a place of harm. More often than not, parenting comes from what they don't know or a place of survival." She goes on to talk about some of the things that go down with parents, but I just thought that first part was very poignant as well. Like they sometimes you just go in a different direction. It automatically makes me think about parents that are doing the work, doing the job the best they can, but also have to go to work and work two jobs and can't be there all the time in the first place, and got to trust that whatever's going on with the child is going to stick from what they told them that morning how to be. And that don't always work.
I came from a stable situation. I got in my dirt when moms was at work. Saturdays when she had to work on weekends, I'm out doing dirt, trying to fit in, trying to get by, trying to, be cool with the wrong crowds. I mean, it's definitely a reality as far as it, but again, it goes back to the environment.
Right.
It still goes back to the environment. Whether the parent themselves were impacted by the environment or they tried their best to shield, because that's what that's all it is. Like, we're talking about good parenting. All good parenting is shielding, trying to protect your child from the environment.
It's true.
That's all it is.
Teaching them how to work within it.
Exactly. Teaching them how to survive within the environment, because we all know the pool is poisoned. And that's the reality. Like that, and you can blame the parents all you want, but at the end of the day, those parents are the same kids that was raised in the same system. They just got older and had kids.
Went to OPS. All of that.
Got the same lack of resources. Like, we can't necessarily blame us for not being able to break the chain in a system that's built this way.
Yeah. Heather Williams is saying, let's not forget about that. Some parents are doing the best they can, and their kids still make bad decisions. It's just
I was one of them.
Tony Johnson said Michaela Danner, who's running for district attorney, running for Don Klein's seat, has interesting campaign points, but is going to need some strong and consistent system and program supporters to bring to fruition. I'm not sure how likely this is given Omaha culture. Okay. Yeah. Pops in the chat says, when little kids are throwing tantrums in the middle of the grocery store, I don't get upset with the kid. I get upset with the parents. They are not the whole problem, but they are a big part of it. I mean, I agree. I gotta say that it goes both ways for me, because we do see a lot of bad parenting out here too, or lack of parenting out here too, and it's not always the fault. We all are trying to work within a system that's jacked up in the first place, and some of us figure it out a little better than others. Why? You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of figure that out too.
There are definitely parents out there who are abusive, parents out there who don't deserve to be parents.
Parents that got to be parents too young.
Right. But that's also like, why? Nobody just chooses to be abusive either. Like, most people who are abusive at some point were abused themselves.
Right. Very true.
Again, victims of this system.
Marlon Harris is in the chat. Marlon, appreciate you bringing up and starting that conversation over there, man. Big time. He said, let's be honest about the village. I know a lot who don't respect the village because the village defines pedos and criminals. Okay. kind of
What do
kind
you
of get
mean?
your kind of get
Yeah,
your
yeah.
point too. Yeah, there's you got to be leery of the village. You got to be leery of the village a little bit as well. I think that when I think about the support that used to happen back in the day, where church was a part of everybody's life and stuff like that
Mm.
too. Yeah, they were. You think your kid was safe, wasn't always safe when it came to them kind of situations. So that is part of it. But I do think that when we say a village, we don't necessarily even mean people outside of our family. Sometimes we need to tighten up people within our family. Was
Hmm.
how can grandma, how can big mom and them be supported? How could the aunts and uncles be supported? My village definitely included my uncles, aunts and uncles and grandparents. And so if something was going on with me at home, then that's what it was. And I even remember situations where my grandfather and helped support pops and help support my family. And there's a lot of times when my mom was able to not have to work because pops worked all the time, and then and then Gramps would bring over some stuff or hook us up with some business or whatever the deal is too. So it was like there was like family business that was going on with our family, and Pops just reminded me about that. Him and his brothers used to do business together all the time like that too, and like keep money flowing, keep the flow going, so that everybody can
Hmm.
be taken care of. So there's a lot when it comes to the village too, and whatever that makeup is part of that. But like you said, even in stable situations, kids are still going to do what they do. Peer pressure. There was a study I read one time that said that the era that you grow up in is going to influence you more than your parents. The
Hmm.
era that you grow up in is going to influence you more than your parents. So yeah, so at some point it does come to that, but and parents do the best they can, but also a lot of bad parents out there as well. So it all we have been talking about family support for years.
Hmm.
When you just said it a while ago. The pool is poisoned. So a lot of the nonprofit organizations that people don't trust out here just trying to save a fish, trying to help a fish at a time instead of like clean the poison out the pool so all the fishes can be all right.
Right.
And we got to talk about that. We do talk about it all the time in these
Hmm.
different areas.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we just talked about with the lead people. Again, they don't get activated until somebody's already poisoned, and the money that's actually needed to be upstream to block some of this stuff is not there. And I you got to know that's intentional. Like that's not haphazard. Like that's not accidental. Like we got to know that's intentional.
Hmm.
Which I did want to acknowledge Heather Williams' point as well as about the trauma. She says to in this last 8-10 minutes or so, talk about solutions. You mentioned family resources. There are a lot of family resource centers that are coming. Shout out to Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name in the legislation that he had passed, and now there are RFPs, requests for proposals out there for organizations that will step up and get some of this state funding to be a family resource center to help combat some of these things, because like Sister Noelle Smith said earlier, a lot of times when she go into these houses and she's witnessing firsthand the behavioral issues, the food insecurity, the health issues, it's parents who are overwhelmed. And I don't, yes, there are bad parents, but I don't think a lot of parents are choosing to be bad. They're just struggling. So again, a start. This is not an end all be all, but a definite start to eliminate some of these hurdles and excuses is family support.
Yeah,
Because until people don't get the help that they need, none of this is going to change.
big time, big time. Appreciate that. Marlon also says I would say for me, my village protected me from a lot of stuff, but I also was never outside like that anyway. Yeah, it definitely has to do with the
Right.
kid too. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's input on this, and to me, this is one of these. Everything that we talk about is an ongoing conversation when it is wrapped
Definitely.
around these things in particular. These things. How can we help and control the environment that surrounds it? When you're growing a flower, when you're growing a garden, don't go out there and start pulling on roots to get that stuff to grow. The environment around the garden, the environment around the flower, the weather, the soil, the what gets trampled, what gets trampled on by rogue animals and people, pulling up stuff prematurely. All these things factor in whether or not you're going to have a thriving garden. And so when we talk about everything that we talked about even today with the sisters from the Douglas County Health Department, how do we control the environment that they're growing up in the first place? And that goes for not just a physical environment, but mental environment,
Economic.
and economic environment, in every way. In every way, how do we do it? So appreciate everybody who is coming with comments on that, questions or comments and solutions, I should say, on some of those things, and we'll definitely continue to talk about them as we go. And go ahead.
I just remembered something in this last conversation to continue this conversation, something to look into, especially as we talk to Douglas County Health. Remember, they had that designation connecting health and racism and environment. So again, what is that? I'm still asking the question, what does that mean? And once you recognize it, what's being done to combat that? So
There you
just
go.
throwing that out there.
Also, let's remember that we're all trying to combat it with the lanes that we have kind of put out
Hey.
there. We're talking about lanes of change. Make lanes, people staying in their lanes to do what they do. When I think about the kind of stuff that we do, I think about how we push PGOT corner, for instance, how we have Love Supreme Fridays, how we talk about putting something together, content creator camp. So we're talking about trying to help people to be able to tell their own stories, to communicate, to report, to hold people accountable. These are all kind of things that's our lane that we work on, but also to people live alive with one another, for people to make sure that they live their life in their art, in order to battle, to keep their heads up, to keep our positive up, to really try to take advantage of situations that are around us all the time that we can, to stay positive and keep upbuilding each other. That's our lane. That's the way that we decided that we're going to work. We bring on people from other lanes all the time: economic power lanes, political power lanes. All these lanes are needed. So I highly suggest to put it out there. Figure out what your lane is. Figure out what lane you're in. How it is that you can upbuild the community and help when it comes to youth, especially in the lane that you're in, and then how can you be juxtaposed against other lanes. You can team up with other lanes and ride side by side and use each other's resources to be able to try to help and do some things like that. I mean, to me, like, there's a lot of promise out here in Omaha for that, if we can get away from this negative.
That part.
Yeah. RG in the chat, the era argument is on point. 1983 to 96, my years in the school system was mighty impactful.
Yeah, man.
I was shocked. They're not saying that so the parents can like stop trying to raise your youth, but your era is going to really determine a lot of who you are. And when I think about that too, I think about environment. So like when I'm thinking about helping my sister with my nephew, for instance, I think about I'm not going to be able to go in there and pull him away from his friends and be in school with him every day, snatching kids left and right, and so he don't get caught up. What I'm going to have to do is take him out of town. What I'm going to have to do is do all these things that will spur his involvement in other areas and other parts of life, and see a different matrix around the place that he's actually in the first place, because he's already coming up in an era where the music's telling him what to do, his peers are telling him what to do. I shouldn't say telling him what to do, informing him about who he thinks he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
All those things are the case. I grew up in the my teenage years was late 80s, early 90s. So I absolutely got a little gangster there for a minute, because that's the era that's just what it was. And there wasn't no gangster, nothing about my whole family, but we still found our way. Me and my cousin still found our way to act up, because that's what it was.
Sitting there watching Colors.
Like, yeah.
Pac-Man coming.
Because it's what it is.
Man.
That's what it is. So man, we gotta keep that in mind. And right now, the environment for these kids is rough. We can talk to Brother Kasim from BAA. So these kids is bold. These kids ain't like they was before.
It's rough.
It's rough right now. But why? Why do they feel like they gotta be so tough right now? Why they feel? I'm just talking about the world we live in right now politically. Just thinking about our current administration makes me want to be like, let me toughen up here and let me get my passport together. And let me, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that trigger us as well, environmentally. Everything around us makes us wake up with an attitude and be ready to fight some kind of way. So, so you can imagine that's the same thing going on with these kids. They growing up in the era of they got to worry about whether or not a school shooting gonna happen today.
Man, I couldn't imagine. Which that is another thing. Like gun violence is just, you know, normal for them, unfortunately.
Normal for the country, unfortunately. So, this is the country they live in. So,
Again,
gotta think about
pond is poison. What can we do to unpoison it? Therapy definitely goes a long way. Resources go a long way. So we can start there.
Let's power down, people. You got some final words for the people?
I appreciate the conversation. Of course, this is an ongoing conversation. We're going to keep staying on top of it. Hopefully, as always, we're creating more clarity than confusion. You know, a big shout out to everybody who is having the conversation in the community. We see you. We hope to continue these conversations. And, you know, with things like this, just trying to give a little food for thought, man. Just give some food for thought. But nothing is going to change until we get up and, you know, see where we can get in the game and change it. Faith without works is dead. So that's definitely where my mind is, you know, and all of us have a role to play. We can all do something. So again, focus on that. And we'll try to do this again. Same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Hey, again, we have another guest coming in on Friday. So yeah, check us out. We'll be doing it again. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
The legendary Vita Jeffries going to join us on Friday.
Yes,
so we can't wait to speak to her. Also, don't forget about that BID meeting today. Just a little bit more information on this open house information session that's happening from 11 to 7. North 24th Street Business Improvement District is investing in our streets. It's an investment in our people. It's Economic Development Week, and we're talking about how international infrastructure creates economic opportunity. After decades of disinvestment, we believe North 24th Street deserves a foundation that supports growth, and the Streetscape Master Plan is how we build it. Highly suggest you go check out what the Streetscape Master Plan is by showing up to the event today. You can tap in anytime between 11 and 7 and be able to see it and be able to see the plan, see the maps, talk to some folks, drop in anytime at the Inez Conference Room, Family Housing Advisory Services at 2401 Lake Street, right there on the corner of the Deuce, 24th and Lake. That's happening today. Highly suggest you go check that out for sure. And then also something else that we do that we haven't talked about yet is going down at Film Streams. Jazz on a Summer's Day is coming up on May 9th. So that is 3 days from now. And I will be introducing the film. So join me over there for Jazz on a Summer's Day at the Ruth Sokoloff Theater. That's the one over in North Downtown. That's going down at 1:45 on Saturday, May 9th. Check us out over there. There's another date too, the 13th that'll be playing as well. But if you can make May 9th, Saturday, love to see you over there. Appreciate you if you're not already doing some other things. So, once again, thank you so much, Film Streams. Thank you for all of our partners, all of our Chad Chimers and co-hosts, and everybody who's with us. Really appreciate you guys. Big time. RG said, yeah, man. He said 1987 and 84, I was wilding, gang related. I heard that. That's what it was. Glad you survived. Glad you came out the other side of that. I know a lot of cats that wild out during them times that ain't here no more. For real. On the dead homies, for real. Shout out to Tony Johnson. They have to be tough because we talk about how weak they are every time we cram services and behavior labels down their throats. Definitely part of that. For sure. Pop says another great Odin's Day Wednesday, which you know is my favorite day of the week, and First Sky is a big part of that. Love you guys, and the Chimers. See you all on Friday. Appreciate you, Pops. Much love. Heather Williams gives us a have a great day, everyone. Also, Marlon says, great show, brothers. Let's keep having these conversations every day. Man, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
For real. Shout out to everybody. Tony Johnson. Now you have this new media world where the faults of the community leaders are highlighted and on constant repeat. New media world. We're learning how to navigate in it, and that's why we have our content creators camp coming up on May 9th on this Saturday. So
see what you did there.
Yeah, see what I did there. Stay tuned for that. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do a few things here on that. So if you still are interested in becoming one of the participants of the Content Creator Camp, the 4-week program, 2 hours each Saturday, then definitely hit us up, firstsky.omaha@gmail.com. Send us an email, and we'll also put the link in a message on Friends of First Sky Omaha as well for you to just link to it and get on in. So there you go. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys on Friday. Shout out to Umaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land. Shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. We appreciate you following on with our train of thought when we're doing this. We're bringing these ideas to you because we find some threads for some of the things that we're looking into in the world, and also in your discussions happening over on Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook. Keep them coming. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you Friday when we speak to Vita Jeffrey from Jeffrey's Consultation. So stay tuned for that. Meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. Live alive with one another. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green.